Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. I must admit, it sort of had to come together because I was up late last night listening to Terrell on a Twitter space with over 29,000 people on it. Of course, I didn't get to talk to him. He was sort of like the protagonist because he was the only one there actually that had the pelotas enough to be telling what's going on in Kiev, etc., etc., etc. I played him today on KPFT 90.1 FM, Houston, and he was a hit. Both he and Harvey Wasserman. Everybody said, that's a timeless show. I got emails that said, Egberto, one of your best shows when I combined those two together because they really thought it was apropos. So look, man, I tell you guys can always go pull those shows up. Either listen to the KPFT show at kpft.org or at politicsandright.com, or go ahead and pull down the individual things. Anyhow, last night it finally happened. They invaded. But I tell you what, before I get into my narrative, because there's a whole lot of stuff that I want to say, let me salute my wonderful people. Eric Hayes, welcome aboard. Bottom of the barrel, 600K barrels per day from Russia. The Keystone Pipeline would have bought over 800K. That has great decision to cancel the up. I'm going to leave that alone till we get into narrative. Kathy C. Courtney, my beautiful Katarina from HPJC. How are you doing today? Bruce Pollard says, howdy. Hey, Bruce, who would have thought you're from Wisconsin? You're talking like a Texan now, man. What's going on? Norman Reynolds says, uno y listo. Dos, let's get busy. Paul Fleming checking in from ATL. Welcome aboard, Paul Fleming. Also, we've got Melanie Keaton says, good evening. Paul Fleming, hoot about sanctions, he says, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Bridge MCP says, hi, posse. Bridge, I hope you're doing better. You know, we kind of check up on you every so often to make sure our girl doing fine. How you doing? Come on, put it in the chat. Let us know that you are like 100% recovered. We need our girl out here, our woman out here. You know, the girl is said with affection, not the pejorative that some people look at it. You know what I'm talking about, girl. Anyhow, Bridge MCP says, oops, hi all. AVQ is here in the house. And of course we have Deb Denny. And what does Deb Denny tell us? Deb Denny says, I am lurking. Deb, so you are lurking, beautiful. Deb, you are lurking. Well, you know what? You are here. And Bridge MCP says, almost healed. Thanks, bro. Great. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that you take care of yourself because the posse needs you, girl. The posse needs you. Anyhow, going down to Brother Rudnin. Brother Rudnin has us filled up again. Egberto, there's only one topic today. Russia. You know what I like with Rudnin? Rudnin usually comes and says, I am going to run your show today, Egberto. There's only one topic we need to talk about today. Well, Rudnin, thank you for that good advice. I want to touch on some Social Security and rich people and all of that as well. So it's y'all's show, but every now and then I'm going to put a little bit of my thing in there. You know what I mean? It's y'all's show. Don't get me wrong. It's your show. It's your show. You direct it. You guys are all the protagonists in my show. Anyhow, let's get busy. Egberto, there's only one topic today. Russia launched a wide-range attack on Ukraine on Thursday, hitting cities and bases with airstrikes or shelling as civilians piled into trains and cars to flee. Ukraine's government pleaded for help as it said Russian tanks and troops rolled across the border in a full-scale war that could rewrite the geopolitical order. President Vladimir Putin ignored global condemnation and cascaded new sanctions as he unleashed Moscow sorry, Moscow. We in Panama we say Moscou because that's what it is, right? Moscou in Spanish. Most aggressive action since the 1979 Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, and chillingly referred to his country's nuclear arsenal. You know what he was saying? Hey, you guys don't come and hit my land because I have nukes. He threatened any foreign country try to interfere with consequences you have never seen. Ukrainian officials said their forces were battling Russians on a series of fronts. And you know what? Russia isn't doing half as good as it's expected to do because Ukrainians are gonna fight. We have a conventional war. It's gonna be warring, and eventually, when they get overrun, it's gonna be guerrilla warfare. But I want to talk about something that you just mentioned there. You talk about full-scale war and how they rolled it. I'm going to tell you something. It's amazing because earlier I told my daughter that Putin is Donald Trump, but the only difference between Donald Trump and Putin is that he will execute. Donald Trump is a chicken, right? He has a big mouth, but he doesn't do anything, right? What I'm talking about of substance. Everybody else does things for him. Even if you look at the January 6th, it's everybody else was arranging January 6th. He gave the okay. But when it comes to him standing up, nah. But Putin will actually say, I am sending you into war. Donald Trump says, will you go to war for me on January 6th? Difference. These both guys are narcissists and crazy. I want you to think, when Rudnin talks about how this invasion went in, okay? Yes, it's unnecessary. But just think about it from a human perspective. You just decide that you think Ukraine, after all these years of separation from the Soviet Union, you just think that was a wrong move. So you, in your ultimate wisdom, after Ukraine has developed its own character, its own society, you in your own will's gonna say, well, you know what, you really should be Russia and surrender. Let me take you. I mean, the height of narcissism, the height of, and I don't even know all the words to use there, but you get what I'm saying. Putin needs to be thrown out of office by his own people. He needs to be thrown into jail for crimes against humanity because, again, that was just an unprovoked war. I know what the whataboutisms are, and we'll talk about that later. Russian President Vladimir Putin announced Tuesday morning local time that he was launching a special military operation in Ukraine, a move that was followed by reports of explosions around cities including Kharkiv in eastern Ukraine and the capital Kiev. Now Europe is witnessing its first major war in decades. The Ukraine foreign minister confirmed soon after that Putin has just launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, something that the Biden administration has been saying for a while. They said it was going to be an invasion. Nobody believed them. Not even Tucker Carlson and former President Trump, right? They are full Putinists, right? Dozens of Ukrainians have already died in the conflict, and I heard 50 Russians have already been killed as well. What just happened reminds me of Desert Storm. Shock and awe from Iraq, as will Ukraine anticipated response on the ground. We should be prepared for a campaign of drawn-out, asymmetric, unconventional warfare. I don't know if Russia is ready for that, to be honest with you, right? But I mean, the thing about it is, let's say they decided to have some sort of asymmetric warfare in the closed lands of Ukraine. It hurts Russia, right? Because eventually that's going to be status quo, and it won't really have an impact on gas. And right now, Putin is kind of happy. I can imagine what he told the oligarchs. We're going to mess around in this place for a few, let oil prices go through the roof for 3 or 4 months. You know how much money? Remember, every increase in the price of oil is icing on the cake for Putin. It's icing on the cake for Saudi Arabia. It's icing on the cake for Venezuela. It's icing on the cake for all these guys. Every time the price of oil, because the price of putting the oil out never really changes substantially. So it's all icing on the cake. Why do you think these guys, you don't see Saudi Arabia rushing to help the United States or anything like that? Because icing on the cake. Or not help the United States, help the rest of the world. Because the United States is pretty much self-sufficient between Canada, Mexico, and the US. Self-sufficient for all practical purposes, if we want to. All right, Belgian Prime Minister Alexandre De Croo said European Union leaders need to adopt sanctions that will be strong enough to impact the Russian economy and the country's military industrial complex. We don't need sanctions that bark, we need sanctions that bite. De Croo said upon his arrival at an urgent meeting of EU leaders in Brussels to discuss a new package of measures targeting Russia. De Croo said the main goal of the sanctions should be to make it hard for Russia's financial institutions to access international markets. Meantime, seems like NATO's first response will be to unilaterally crush Russia's economy, as a country's military cannot proceed for very long without a strong economy backing them. The only problem is that Russia has a large supply of reserve currency, making much of an long effort tactic to end war. They have over $600 billion in reserve. Just think about that, right? And while $600 billion will last a few months in the United States, it'll probably last a few years in Russia. So we got to be careful. Michael Rudden, last one, says, airstrikes, invasion, heavy fighting at Chevronol. Russia goes to war with Ukraine. So far, dozens of Ukrainians have been reported killed and even more injured, according to the Ukrainian authorities. Numerous Russian soldiers are also said to have been killed. While there's no official confirmation, international media reporting hundreds of deaths. War is horror. You know, it's sad because for us, we are looking at it like we looked at Desert Storm. It looked like a game, right? Like a war game or something on a screen. But people are dying. We have to realize that people are dying. People are dying. People are dying. Yes. All right, AVQ says he's watching from Twitch. All right, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for all of you that are out here checking things out. All right, Eric Hayes has a paragraph here that I'm wondering, should I read? It says, scary times as Russia and Iran and China, it said, do not have same views as the West of being free and democratic and having nice things, etc. Do you ever wonder why when U.S. makes payoff deals with Iran or whatever, and those are adhered to, those areas don't have the same motivation as the West? And what we could be seeing with Russia is they want their motherland back and will crush whomever. Their GDP is small compared to other countries, say around 1 trillion size of Florida. Having a strong military to repel this is in the hope of appeasement. I'm not sure what you're saying completely, but I do want to correct one thing that I think I understood. We have a tendency to believe. I mean, let me give you one of the problems in our thinking process that affects the way we treat other people and the way why sometimes we look at with disdain. You says China, Iran, China, and Russia do not have same views as the West of being free and democratic and having nice things A lot of the nice things that we have in the United States are Persian rugs, where it came from again, or Chinese embroidery and Chinese sets. Where did it come from again? We in the West somehow love to get all these foreign things that are produced elsewhere. They're beautiful. And then we have the gall to say, Eric, and they're not used to having nice things. That is the kind of mentality that creates that false sense of superiority that ain't there. Every single human being wants some degree of freedom. Now, if you want to talk about people who don't really care about freedom, let's really talk about America. Donald Trump was really ready to go fascist. He's taking away the right to vote for everybody. Is that freedom? No. That's what's happening in Texas and many other red states. So don't talk about these people valuing that we value freedom more than they do. Because there are a lot of Republican operatives that are just fine with keeping a certain class and group of people from voting. Isn't that taking away somebody's freedom? Let's go a bit further, okay? Women's rights, right? We are comfortable to look into a woman's eyes and say, as a man, as a lawmaker, I have no problem telling you that I control your body. You have no free will, no freedom. to control your body. I know what's best for your body, woman. So don't come and talk to me about abortion this and abortion that because I took your freedom away. Please do not ever talk about we value our freedom more so than those in China or Russia. Have you been there? I've been to China. You know, if you stay out of certain parts of politics or whatever, you're pretty damn free. I mean, if I do certain things in America, I am pretty damn unfree. So please understand, I am not saying that we don't tend to want to be following in the law more of a democratic concept, but as humans, we all want to be free. As humans, we all want to be free, and it depends on how much we want to invest in that. And right now in America, we are going to the other direction. We are allowing a fascist party to take our freedom away. And 30% of America say, it's okay. It's okay to take those people's freedoms away. And then it's okay to take half of Americans' right to control their own bodies away. It's okay. That's what we say. And then we're going to talk about other people's freedom? How dare you? How dare you? Okay, continuing. Let's continue. Para ver. Melanie says, good evening. Paul Fleming, para ver. Hi, that like. Oh, thank you for reminding folks. If you are on YouTube, give us a click up on that thumbs up. And if you're on Facebook, give us that like. Alistair Water says, Deb Denny, are you feeling any better today? We hope she is. We hope she is. December 5, 1994, Budapest Memorandum. You just taught me something. There was that. Budapest, Romania, right? Alistair Water is dealing with headache, hangover. Anyone familiar with migraines know what I mean. Better, but feeling drained and nauseated. Please take care of yourself, my dear beautiful lady. Michael Ronan says, planning and waging a war of aggression is a war crime. Amen. Agreed. Carl Cox says, the oil producers and oil companies will use any excuse to raise the price of oil and gasoline, allowed to shaft the American. Exactly. Because like I keep telling people, there ain't no oil shortage. Even if we took all, and hear me out, take the 10% to 12%. Actually, I was corrected by Redden yesterday. He said, Egberto, fact check. It's not 10% from Russia, it's 12%. Okay, take away 12% of the oil. You're right. Okay? So what? Can you drive 10% or 12% less? Yes, you can. There's, we have allowed these plutocrats, these unfettered capitalists to put in our minds certain methodologies. And in putting in our mind certain methodologies, we believe the crap, right? So we believe that you got a little disruption in oil, even though there's enough oil to serve us all, that they have the right to pump that oil value as high as possible. And since that's how we work, I said, fine. And during the Carter years, there was a thing called not the depletion, it was called the windfall tax. All right, the windfall tax. If we don't want to fix our economic system, I am all for windfall taxes on medicine, windfall taxes on energy, windfall taxes on everything. And we then determine that tax based on the abuse issued by said company. Anybody believes in a market, in some mythical market, I'm going to tell you, folks, talk to economists, real economists like Richard Wolff, and you'll understand that the market, the mythical market is there to screw most of us. That's what it's there for. So no. Carl Cox, what you said deep inside is absolutely a fact. British MCP says, watching the UN last night with Ukraine calling our Russia, felt bad for him. I felt bad for the Russian guy, to tell you the truth, All right, let's see. Bruce Pollard said, where is that 600? In the ground or in the bank? What bank? I don't know. When I hear that on the mainstream media, right? That he had that excess 600 billion. The truth of the matter, that is a damn good question, Bruce. Because if it's in a bank that we control, the president has just frozen everything from Russia, right? So I don't know. Let's see. Deb Denny says Serena Williams takes Frovatripan. Oh, for migraines? I didn't know that. All right, Paul Fleming says, hit that like button. Exactly, Paul. Thank you so kindly for reminding folks to do so. Hey, folks, keep loading me up with these questions before I go to the Ukraine topic that I really intend to discuss before then, the Social Security issue. If you want to make your point, if you want to unload, if you want to vent, please go ahead and do so now. I want to hear mostly from you guys. We have a war going, and it is of utmost importance. Yes, it is. All right, we have Bridge MCP says, I came from New I. Let's talk about invasion. Don't. Ireland, Northern Ireland. That's new. I was for a minute. I was trying to equate it with a state, and there's not another state. Northern Ireland. Yeah, we know what invasion is. You have invaded, right? From the English. All right. Paul Fleming says Republicans talk freedom, but at the same time spend all of their energy taking certain groups of people's freedoms away. And you know what? You know what is so funny about what you just said there, Paul? Think about this. They spend a whole lot of time taking other people's freedom away, and they do it in segmentations, right? So we take the freedom of people of color. You go with 35 to 40% of the population, right? Then you take women off the table with certain types of freedoms. Right then and there, you got 50% of the people. Of course, there's an intersectionality between people of color and women. So instead of you're about, I don't know, let's call it about 13%. Let's say now you're at about 40, 50, 60% of people now that you have in a non-voting position. And by the way, we're coming close to what the Senate represents, right? In other words, the majority, 60% of, it takes 60% of the rest of us to amount to 40% of those who don't agree with us. Shame. Supermajorities, right? So that's where we're at. That is what they're good at. They're good at segmenting people. So if we segment people, you know, they accuse us of, what's the word they like to use? They accuse us of liking to brand different people. You know, they call it, help me out with that word. What's that word that they use all of the times? That word that they use all of the time. Identity politics. By the way, I do believe in identity politics, right? I do believe we better know, thank you, Michael Rudnin, we better know that women have issues that are not equivalent to those of men. That's identity politics. We better know that black people have issues that are not equal to that of white people, so therefore we can mitigate those issues. If we ever want to become a truly equitable society, notice I never use a colorblind society. First of all, color don't mean anything, but secondly, I like the beauty of differences, right? I love the beauty of differences, right? And until I don't let the plutocracy or the marketing agencies define what beauty is. Because remember, that's the only reason you know what beauty is, right? Somebody defined it and they imprinted in your mind, and that's what it is. That's what it is. Okay, I kind of got off a tangent. Sorry. All right, let's see. Paul Fleming says Republicans talk freedom, but at the same time spend all of their energy taking certain groups of people's freedoms away. And by the time it's all over, I think it turns out to be like 20% of people that live with a strong degree of freedom. And those are the people then who rules, right? If you take a look at their income, if you take a look at the capital that they own, etc., 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 those are the people who rule, right? All right, let's see. Now, Eric says, how dare you? I have no clue what you're talking about, my brother. Bree, let's see, Kathy, Courtney, right back at you, girl. Budapest, Hungary. What did I say, Romania? Thank you. Budapest, Hungary. Thank you. Thank you. Got to remember. Thank you, Norman. Eric Hayes, not that simple, man. You think everyone lives your way? They don't get that. I don't know what you mean. Again, you got, look, a note to folks that are writing comments, right? Unless your comment is very apropos to everything that was said so that people can infer from your comment, it's best to qualify your comment. I want to read people's comments and I want to give everybody a fair shake. But if I say something and 5 minutes later I get to your comment, half the people don't know what the hell I'm reading. So help me out here, Brother Hayes, when you're doing that. Thank you so kindly. Michael Ronan says, windfall tax is a tax levied by the government against certain industries when economic conditions allow those industries to experience above average profits. Bingo! And that is where we are at. Remember, Walmart and all these big companies, they made a killing because all their competition was shut down. All the mom and pop stores who couldn't build up to serve within a pandemic had to shut down. And where did those businesses go? Where did the customers for those businesses go? It went elsewhere, right? So the government says you got to close down. Other companies that didn't have to pick up the spoils, and you are supposed to just watch them give that excess profit to the shareholders who did absolutely nothing extra to earn that? Come on. That is the defect in the economic model. And that is what we have to start teaching people. We have one of the biggest flawed economic models. Some people will say, well, Egberto, if that model is flawed, it may be flawed, but tell me another one that has worked. We have not allowed another one to work. We have decided to shut down every model that comes out in an attempt to solve it. And I like to use Venezuela as an example, right? You know, everybody laughed at Hugo Chavez when he was talking about creating the Bolivarian revolution and also starting to fund. He was funding Brazil. He was funding Argentina. He was using his oil money to give these guys funding, right? America couldn't have that. We couldn't have a rich socialist country, a socialist country with a base to help out other countries that then may become democratic socialist countries. Because the model of us taking the reward of the land and giving it most to a few, the capital owners, the investors, as opposed to saying these resources on earth belongs to us all, we couldn't have that. That doesn't follow the capitalist model. So we have not, when people say, show me another model that has worked better. I said it was not, there was no other model that was allowed to thrive. We always talk about being a people of ideas. We want to be a people of ideas. We want ideas. But we don't let our ideas blossom. Because if those ideas blossom, it will raise havoc with those who have been taking their unfair share, to those who have been pilfering us for decades. Michael Rodnan says, para ver. Windfall tax against price gougers might be a worthwhile idea. It should be. It's been done before with the oil companies during the oil crisis because, again, remember, oil did you know, if you're manufacturing, if you're drilling for oil, you're not paying for the stuff in the ground. The Supreme Being or whatever put the oil there with the decay of all these plant lives and animal lives for millennia, not millennia, but for millions of years. It's just there. And no matter whatever, when, you know, it hasn't changed. The only thing that has changed is the price that we are willing to pay for it. And the pilfer is, sometimes we buy it at a low price and sometimes we buy it at a high price. What about us turning that entire entity over to a central government or entity where the price would be stable, irrespective of what happens, because there is no shortage. And people say, well, you need to create shortages so that you don't have a run on supply. Yeah, you can have another method of doing it, you know, a lot of different ways, but we have to allow them to grow. Alistair says, yes, Michael. Let's see what else we got here. Division and identity politics. Yes, sir. Tom C says, total U.S. COVID deaths now top 940K, on track to reach 1 million by 331. That would mean 1/303 of our population would have died from COVID. That's a scary proposition. Now, many rump peeps and GOP rumpers are blaming Biden. You can't make this up. When did our country ever side with Russia? When we got traitors elected. Nanette Bird Smith, says, hi all. Nanette, you're a bit late, my dear sister, but thank you for being here. You know we love you. Carl Cox says, the current GOP reminds me of Putin and his cronies. I just told my daughter that. I said, Putin is just a stronger Trump. In other words, Putin is willing to go out there and put his neck on the line and say, I am going to invade this country for no reason. Want the same style of government, only want a GOP dictatorship? You know, I mean, look, if Trump was to get reelected, he would look at Putin and say, wow, that kind of cool. Let me try to invade Mexico, man. Let me invade Canada. I don't like why am I calling the what? I'm going to say while I'm ahead. Putin is claiming Nazism. Trudeau. I don't like Trudeau anyway, right? That's what he probably says. Anyway, what are minority rights usually about? Police violence on the business of on the business end of systemic racism, redefining and unfair wages leading to economic crushing. What are minority rights usually about? All right. Let's start from the inception of this country. And if I'm repeating myself or this is not what you mean, you can call me out later. But one of the biggest issues when this country was formed, right, was individual rights. And so put in a lot of faith in, first of all, the federal government and even the state government, right, was a bit problematic for some of these folks who considered themselves to be more, I don't want to say independent, but more, yeah, actually they felt themselves more independent. What it really meant is that they wanted to do whatever the hell they wanted to do. They really did not believe all that much in a society where the average person can control their lives. So they wanted to make sure and put certain provisions within the Constitution. And those provisions were done, the first 10 amendments, which was actually called the Bill of Rights. And the Bill of Rights assigned rights to the individual, right? That nobody, no group, no amount of people can take away. So it gave the right of citizenship, let's say, this is outside of the Bill of Rights, but it's, let me get out of that, because it's the 14th for citizenship. It says that you cannot be told what religion to have. It said that there has to be the freedom of the press. It says that there's no right to legal. I mean, there are these things that even if the rest of even if 99.9% of Americans say, I want you to be illegally searched, you cannot pass a law to do that based on the Bill of Rights. So the Bill of Rights protects the right, they say protects the right of the minority. That's not true. It protects the right of the individual, of everybody individually, so that the majority cannot come in and change things. There's a catch to that, right? And that is, there was nothing when the country was incepted that said you can't amend the Bill of Rights. It just takes 2/3 of the people to want to amend the Constitution that can actually lay waste to any particular bill, to any particular rights in the bill. But that is, generally speaking, not something that we should fear, because the Bill of Rights is something about everybody pretty much agrees on. It protects the individual from the majority doing absolutely anything. All right, let's see. Welcome aboard. Rouge Shark says, this channel has great discussion. Thanks. I love listening to you chat. Wow, thank you so kindly. You just made my day. Breach MCP says Carl Cox and Tucker is huge in Russia. Yeah, Tucker is huge in Russia. Breach MCP says Rouge Shark it is. Paul Fleming says democracy only goes as far as you can bump into a large corporation. Then they'll either do a takeover or have regulation that shut you down. And Republicans preach against regulations as long as it doesn't affect their agenda. You hit the nail on the head. Paul Fleming says, we are at halfway point, which means I thank you for reminding me to say, folks, please remember this. I'm Egberto Willies, as host of Politics Done Right, a progressive radio media show on Pacifica Network's KPFT 90.1 FM Houston that engages all ideologies. I found that our political angst isn't mostly ideological. There is a well-designed effort by many in power to control us. If we are at each other's throats, we are less likely to demand our economic and local wishes. In that light, I wrote 3 books. I wrote the first one titled, As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, to describe the entire economy in a manner we can all understand. It highlights why it was designed to pilfer most as it empowers a few, the chosen. The second book, titled, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, take it to the next level. After understanding how the system pilfers, it is incumbent that we can speak to our peers to empower a change. The third book, How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, gives us a place to land. After learning about our economy that is dysfunctional for most and learning how to engage the other side, we point out what would make an economy that works for all. Each book stands on its own, but together they provide the full picture. Please consider getting one or more. You will undoubtedly learn, be entertained, and help us continue the mission with our blogs, articles, videos, and books. Absolutely so. And folks, so you can go ahead and get our book right at politicsandright.com/books, politicsandright.com/books. Every book that you purchase, we only make a few dollars on the books, right? Tiny, tiny bit. And it helps us continue doing what we do. If you want to further help us, you can actually go ahead and support our YouTube channel by going and click that join button. Click the join button on the YouTube channel. If you click that join button, you can become at different levels supporters of us. If you don't see that join button but you want to come on with us at YouTube, go to politicsandright.com/YouTube, politicsandright.com/YouTube. Alternatively, we also would love your support on Patreon. Patreon is spelled Patreon. politicsdoneright.com/Patreon, spelled Patreon. Likewise, we love PayPal because PayPal comes to us quickly and with the least amount of costs. Every one of those avenues, I think the YouTube is the highest cost, followed by Patreon, and the least expensive cost to us is PayPal. politicsandright.com/PayPal, politicsandright.com/PayPal. Please consider becoming a part of our posse. Now, we also have a whole lot of new stuff at our store. Please visit our store with our logo, all that good stuff, with t-shirts and hoodies, all that good stuff. politicsdoneright.com/store, politicsdoneright.com/store. Don't forget, get our books, politicsdoneright.com/books. And by the way, we have a lot of different methods of support, more than I've listed there, and you can find them all at politicsdoneright.com/support. politicsdoneright.com/support. We appreciate you supporting this program, because what we do here is more in-depth coverage and many a times much cleaner than the rest. Egberto, you fixed the echo and promo. Thank you. I'm glad it fixed because I'm using a different mic. I have a lot of work to do. Remember, I'm working in a hodgepodge kind of a way, so I'm trying my best to get things fixed. And whenever you guys tell me there's a problem, try to go ahead and mitigate that as best as I can. All right, going back to all the things that you guys have been writing. White on white crime is real, says Paul Fleming. That is so funny. Crime is real. Okay, let's see. The current GOP reminds me of Putin and his cronies. Want the same style of government, only want a dictatorship. What are women's issues usually about? Reproductive rights, maternity leave, and unfair wages leading to economic crushing. True. As I spoke with today, I did a stint with on ACT TV. Juliana Forlano has a show, and she called me up last week and said, "Hey, will you be on my show today?" So I did a stint on ACT TV, ACT.tv. Check it out. Look up for the Juliana Forlano show. Juliano Forlano, Forlano. Juliana Forlano show. I'll probably try to look for the link to the show and get it for you and post it either later on or tomorrow. Anyhow, continuando. Let's see what else I've got here. Paul Fleming says democracy only goal, as far as I read that one already. You know, sometimes I get all mixed up. All right, Nanette Birdsmith says better late than never. Yes, you're here, Nanette. We love that you're here. You know that we love you're here, right? All right, Putin would have attacked Ukraine when Rump was in office, but waited for election. Yep. Daniel Lado says, are these COVID dead numbers from the lying CDC? Well, you know, you can believe that the CDC is lying. When was it lying? Under Trump, under itself, under Biden? I don't know. But I think empirically people can determine if the CDC is lying or not. But one of the things that I think is sad is that the right wing has so attempted to destroy our faith in institutions that they've destroyed our faith in institutions to the people who they control. And that is sad because what's happening right now is a lot of our brothers and sisters are getting themselves killed. They're dying. That's why Republicans are dying at a much higher rate than Democrats from Omicron and all these other viruses, because again, their people are evil enough, not my brothers and sisters, not my Republican brothers and sisters. The people who are leading them are the evil ones. They don't care if you die. They don't give a flying you know what. They just know most of you are going to live, so it's going to be okay, but you're going to get sick and you're going to be able to go out there and say, look, I got sick and I recovered. What about I didn't get sick at all? What about I got sick, but it wasn't all too bad because I had the vaccine? But no. Yeah, sometimes I wonder. Have a plan, it will get I uncomfortable. Don't know what that is. Nanette Bird Smith, you eating money now. Okay, let's see. Paul Fleming says, the CDC only started lying when Trump applied pressure. Before then, they were the gold standard. And I think they're under their new leadership. I forgot her name. She's a very good woman. And she's starting to put respectability back into it. But what happens is, every move that they make is second guessed, right? And once you start defending a move that is being second guessed, it seems like you are either backtracking or you're being defensive. That's what can I say? We just have to prove ourselves. Deb Denny reminded me it was time for links. Let's see, and as well as Bridge MCP says, you're chatting, sharing, all isn't free, support the show. So please, folks, please do support the show. Please go ahead and click that join button on YouTube, or as well, please consider doing as well. All right, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, that's right. Also give us a thumbs up. Daniel, let's agree that the Second Amendment really says not what a GOP politically motivated Supreme Court says it means. English says it was all about a militia, not an individual right. The militia was about controlling slave rebellion. Muchas gracias. Egberto, you fixed the echo problem. Thank you so much for noticing that I somehow, by using a different mic, mitigated it. Let's hope when I get this other mic, it'll be better. We'll see. Daniel Ado, those on the left believe in well-regulated part of the Second Amendment. Those on the right believe in the shall not infringe part. And you know what? I'm going to say so. I had two articles that I was going to cover from Common Dreams, but you guys in the questions that are in the statements you're making are going to cover a lot of them except the one on Social Security and the wealthy. So I'll have it at 5 minutes at the end to talk about that one. Buy our PDR mug too. Please do. Thank you, Bridge MCP, for listing that mug. Please, Bridge MCP just put the link in that mug. Please get the mug. Bridge designed the mug. One of us, somebody in our PDR posse, designed the mug. If you have a mug design that you want to do for Politics Done Right, design the mug, put our logo on it, and we'll add it to the repertoire. Carl Cox says, no Biden inflation, only inflation caused by mega corporations so they can crush the bottom 90% in terms of wealth and blame politicians who don't do their bidding. Carl Cox, that is the message of the day, to point that out. Inflation, there are two kinds of inflation. Inflation by choice and inflation by scarcity. What we have right now is inflation by choice. And if you want to blame somebody, blame those people that you've been worshiping for some time, the corporate structure. Please, please do. All right, let's see what else we got here. Tory Mercer, Putin is not afraid of NATO. He's afraid of democracy. The Ukraine invasion was preceded by pro-democracy civil unrest in Putin's vassal states of Kazakhstan and Belarus. You're so right, Tory. You're so right. And Tori, I appreciate the comments you left. I saw it. I think I clicked a like on it where you enjoyed the KPFT program today. My aim is simply to do what's right, brother. Aim to do what's right. Tori Mercer also says, If there are free and fair elections in Russia, Putin will go to jail for the rest of his life. Or maybe he'll meet the guillotine. Okay, okay. I pointed out the mug. I pointed out the mug, Breach. Thanks again. Thanks again. Again, folks, Breach MCP designed it. All right, Tory Mercer. Putin's approval rating in Russia is floats around 60%. I think it's going to fall dramatically after yesterday's invasion. That would be great. That would be great. Imgor, okay, let's see. Do you have a picture that you want to go up there? Oh, the cup. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. It may blink some, but I'm going to try it. Breach MCP. I'm going to try to put the mug. Folks, I'm going to put it on the screen. It's going to blink some because we still haven't figured it out. Even though brother Rudnan saying, brother, get that driver checker so that you don't have those flickers anymore. Rudnan, I got so much to do. When I'm done with this show, you'd not imagine the amount of stuff I continue doing. Yes, you can. You know. Anyhow, from Bridge MCP, there is the cup she designed. And that's the link that she gave you. The cup she designed. I just think I noticed something. If I stay still, let's say I'm going to stay still for a minute. I thought that would have done it. I was wrong. Okay, it didn't do it. But anyhow, that is the cup designed by Bridge. And what that cup did, what I love about the cup she designed, is it says join the PDR posse, right? But it's deeper than that. It's about chat between the left and the right, chat and learn, progressives and conservatives, or we the people. I love, and you know, I give everybody a hard time. And but I think all of you conservatives, my brothers and sisters that come back here, know what's in my heart, and that's why you're here. I think you know that. I honestly think you know that, and that's why you remain with Politics Done Right. Now, folks, support us. Go ahead and click that join button. Please go ahead and click that support button. Click whatever you can to help us out here. Peggy Lopez, good luck, babes. I just got out of surgery, got healthy, heal fast. Yes, yes, yes. Peggy Lopez, hi all. In for a minor surgery tomorrow. Hope to be home by Monday's meeting time. Have a great weekend. I'll not pay attention to anything this weekend except getting home and getting healthy. Peggy, we want you around, girlfriend. You must be around. Peggy says, I'll be flashing. I like the flashing. Brings more attention to the cup than just a cup sitting there. Oh, man. You see, you tell me that a bug is better than not a bug. I love that. Paul Fleming says, we'll hang. I have to leave early to get to the gym. I'm on my 50-pound weight loss program. Your picture doesn't show 50 pounds overweight, brother. You must carry your weight very well. I need to lose about 12, 15. Actually, I think I need to lose about 18 pounds. So I told my daughter I was going to start eating once a day most of the times. But sometimes, you know, you don't follow the rules. But, you know, the thing is not to beat up yourself too much. It's the trajectory is to be going down. So I got to lose. I'm going to put it. I'm going to lose 20 pounds. So we're all in this together. AVQ says, Peggy, I think the flashing is mildly distracting, about as bad as 90% Papa Pads. Oh, that's bad, Rudnin. Come on now. You're giving her a hard time. My guess is that the problem is whatever video driver, not with the video card. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you because this same computer was working fine before, and I think it happened before I updated the driver. Carl Cox says, I need to lose 120 pounds. Carl Cox, I don't believe you. You're going to have to send me a picture for me to believe you need to lose 120 pounds, brother. Al Rose, mi hermano de Panama, ¿cómo estás, hermano? Eat once a day? I can influence that. How can you influence that, Rose? Before I close the show down, I want to answer to that one, brother Rose. Eat once a day? I can influence that. How? Come on, tell me how to influence that. I want to hear it. You have some sort of a new drug that you're selling? Breeze MCP says, want to lose weight. Have abdominal surgery, lost 35 pounds. You know, that is so funny. That is so funny. I think you may have been talking to my daughter when you said something to that effect. June Litter says, at least you are in sync now. Well, I know. You know, let me tell you, I still don't understand the sync problem, I'll be honest. Robert Davenport says, when people lose weight, I seem to find it. My bad. That's a good one. I like that. When people lose weight, I find it. Wow. Deb Dennis says, I can't not eat if I get hungry. You know, coffee, baby. Coffee. Coffee, coffee, coffee. If you notice I'm sipping on coffee all the time, that kind of helps. And Bridge really enjoyed that funny one from that. I love that one. Kathy C. Courtney says, how can I lose 15 pounds in 10 days, weeks, lose 15 pounds in 10 weeks before knee surgery? I didn't know you were going for knee surgery, Kathy. I hope that doesn't involve, let's see, when you go for knee surgery, I hope it's not around the time that we're doing our HPJC function, right? Because, you know, we love to have you there, girl. Let's see what else we got. Deb Dennis says, hate coffee. Well, put some sugar in. No, don't put sugar. And don't put the other kind of sugar either, because the other kind of sugar can be gastrically dangerous. Bridge MCP says, drink water, fills you up. I think actually that's a good one, Bridge. Drink a lot of water. Carl Cox says, one drop of coffee ruins a gallon of milk. Plain and simple. Really? Now you see, you won't let me try to do that experiment. You're gonna let me try to say, okay, I'm gonna get a gallon of milk and I'm gonna take an eyedropper, put a drop of coffee in it, and see what happens. I'm gonna see what happens. May 2nd, should I buy your book? Of course. I have the book called Weight Loss and Be Fit. And let me tell you, the good thing about my book on weight loss is that it's human, right? Because I've done screwed up so many times. I've gone from 260 pounds to 185. I'm about 210 right now. I gained back because I'm not working out while I'm here at my daughter. But so I've gained a little bit of that weight back, but not the 260 that I once was. I can still fit in my 32s at 210. So I'm not feeling too bad because I guess the redistribution is different. Alistair Waters says, Juan Valdez is my best friend. Y aquí tienes Juan Valdez. Aquí está Juan Valdez, hermana. Bridge MCP says, haven't drank coffee in years. Bridge, what kind of an Irish woman are you, girl? What kind of an Irish woman are you? Hot tea also works to stave off hunger. I like tea, but it does a little something else to me that I don't want to tell you guys right now. Carl Cox says, decaf tea tastes great. We'll try to email you a photo of my blubber. I'm waiting. Paul Fleming says, I was 250, but I'm at 235. I'm so proud of you, brother. So you're going to go to where I want to be as well, 185 or so. Michael Renner says, I'm going to be away tomorrow, hanging out with friends coming from out of town, and I haven't seen in years. I'll be back next week. Hope we're all still around. We'll be around. And thank you for all you do, Brother Rednan, for being around, being a hell of a supporter to Politics and Right. Like many of you that are listening right now, you guys are wonderful. We couldn't have this program without all you great people and with all your great commentary. Because yeah, I tell you what, I prepare programs, and just talking to you and listening to your chats, I have so much more fun that it's like, okay, whoever wants to see the show that I advertise in the blog, you're still getting it, because the articles that I was going to talk about, or the links and everything, are right there in the blog, so we're fine. Okay, Breach comes back and hit me. Irish women drink tea, has more caffeine too. Okay, I hear you. Have fun, Michael. Look, we have about 3 more minutes to go. It's too late for me to hit up on the actual rest of the show, so why don't you guys tell me something that you want me to answer? Ask me anything, whether about politics, about me, or whatever. Ask me anything, and I'll promise for the next 4 minutes I'll answer. So come on, let's have it. Kathy, you just say thank you, Kathy, and Robert just says mint tea is good. Come on, hit me up. I'm waiting. I am waiting. Saludos con café. All right, let's see what's going to be the first question that somebody says right now. How is Ashley, Bridge MCP? Ashley and I just got back before I did the show from rehab. Her rehab is coming along solid, steady. It's going to be a while before she gets back all of her mobility. But the most important part about her is that she's finished with her school. All of you, she's done with Howard. She did her last course this week. All she has to do is pass the boards. And when she passes the boards, it will be MD at the end of her name, because she would have fulfilled everything. What kind of tax system do you support? I support what you call it, sort of what we have now, is what's called a progressive tax system. The more you make, the larger percentage you pay. A progressive system, but one that is honest without a whole bunch of loopholes. Carl Cox says, why do we drive on a parkway and park on a driveway? Damn, Carl, that's a good one. You stumped me there. Kathy says, do you follow historians Heather Cox Richardson? Somebody sent me one of her Facebook posts. If you have any of them to share me, always share it to me. Please do. Robert Davenport said, what is your next book going to be about? Oh, I've already started my next book, and I'm starting it at the same place Ashley is doing her book on her stroke at Amazon. That Amazon, what is it called? Amazon what? Yeah, but no, but it's Holla. What? Vela. I'm doing it at Amazon Vela, and here's what it's about. Everybody sees me. This nice black dude, right? Latino, Caribbean black dude that's always happy and that really, really loves everybody. But rarely do I get a chance to say all the trepidations that I've gone through. The prejudice that I've gone through in forming several companies, the prejudice that I went through in working for corporate America. And, you know, when people see me as a black person happy, getting ahead, doing the things that I want to do, many times they look at others and say, well, why can't everybody else do that? And I have the answer to that, right? So I first want to let folks understand in this book that I'm writing, so I have several chapters of the trepidation I went through. It's 6 different companies with forming over 5 businesses, etc., and what I've gone through. And even with banking, what I've gone through with banking, my side of the story. And to let you know in that thing that not everything that these people did to put a break or to break your spirits, I never allowed that to break my spirit to move ahead. You can't ask everybody to have that kind of a modal, right? But for my white audience, for the section of my audience that I consider privileged, I think reading the book that I'm coming up to write, and you'll be able to read it in chapters because I'm doing it like Ashley is doing it. Every time I print a chapter, it goes to Amazon. In reading about what I've gone through from a position not of accusation or not of trying to let anybody feel bad or down anybody, it's going to be about showing or opening the eyes of people who otherwise would have said, damn, I didn't know that. Or how could you have gone through that and still rise up? To which I want to say, everybody have gone through their tribulation. You know, one time on Daily Kos, I wrote a piece, and I said that sexism was worse than racism, and I took hell for that piece. I still stand by that piece in as much as I acknowledge what, in this case, most of the people that were attacking me were black women. I still stand by that piece that I wrote because I always contrast President Obama and Hillary Clinton and competence and who became president first. I also go back to things like voting rights and who was able to vote first, right? And when I look in the aggregate, when I look at sexism in the church, when I look at sexism everywhere, and sexism, the thing about it is sexism is practiced by all races, right? Whatever race means. Everybody practices it, right? So I think it's important, and it is important for us to look at things in different manners, in different ways. It gives us a bigger opportunity to do good, to be good, and to try to improve who we are. Anyway, I got to get out of here. I'm 2 minutes ahead, but I want to rethink. I'm stumped her. I will stump her. LM laughing my ass off, Ashley. Okay, let me read these last few real quick. Let's see, what is the next book? I just told you what the next book is, Brother Davenport. Great for Ashley. Nanette Birdsmith, team says teams. Ashley strong. Hip, hip, hooray. Thank you, guys. Peggy Lopez says at Bridge MCP, caffeine does not frazzle me that way. Paul Fleming says congratulations. Bridge MCP said awesome. Tell her I will test her. Haha. Good for her. You test her, baby. You test her because she got to do all those questions on her boards. So you test the holy hell out of her, girlfriend. Ali Esther says, way to go, Ashley. Bridge MCP says, we drive on a parkway, but park on a driveway. Hey, come on, guys, mess with me. Alro says, I've been a spot working among the professional white group of people. Bridge MCP says, Egberto Willis, tell Ashley Willis we are all proud of her, her abilities, her determined thoughts and emotions, and her perseverance in overcoming it all. She needs to be my MD. She still can be your MD. All right, let's see. Bridge MCP says, I'll stump her. All right, girlfriend. Guys, thank you so kindly. I haven't been here on Politics Done Right. I got to get out of here. I'm 3 minutes overdue, and meaning I'm off to chop a little piece. You guys know how I end this, baby. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right. And know how I end this. I am what? What am I? Oh! Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willis. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willis. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.